Hi, hello and welcome to my channel. Today we are actually doing a declutter and we are decluttering my eyeshadow palettes and as well my eyeliners because I just don't use them that often and I'm not using eyeshadows too often either, so I think it is good to have a declutter right now. And I'm gonna put all of these products in a chopping block and I'm gonna see maybe around September if I want to just throw them away or give them to friends if possible, because around September I'm gonna film my makeup inventory. So let's start with the eyeliners and then we are gonna move into shadows. So these are all my eyeliners. I'm gonna start with the split liner from Glisten Cosmetics. This is beautiful, but I can create a purple wing with an eyeliner and I'm using this lighter shade maybe once a year or something like that. And I have this one from NYX as well, the Vivid Brights, and this has only 6 months of shelf life and I think I used it twice. And it is a pretty small applicator, but it is decently hard to apply, so I'm gonna put both of these in the chopping block for now. Then I have an orange from Revolution. I just purchased it. I'm gonna keep it just because it is a great formula. Then I have the Bobbi Brown. It is like a shadow stick. I'm gonna keep this one because it is pretty nice. Recently I purchased this one from Kiko. It is a pinky shade, so I think if I want something lighter, something pinky, maybe an accent, I think I could use this one with concealer or something. So I'm gonna keep this one and use it for something graphic if I want. The green from Revolution, I'm sure I will use it, and the black, of course, I'm keeping it. Then this green from Sephora I will keep as well because it is a really nice shade and it is a bit darker. This is the only eyeliner that I have. It is the Physicians Formula waterproof one, so I'm keeping it as well. Then I have the e.l.f. shadow stick. This is going nowhere because it is my absolute favorite one. Then from Sephora I have another one. This is the Tiramisu shade. It is a brown. I'm keeping this one as well. This one from Nabla is so beautiful and I'm using it very often, so I will keep it. This from Maybelline is very nice and beautiful, but I'm not using it that often and I would rather use the Nabla one. It's just better, so I will declutter this one. Then I have this Essence Blend and Line. It's just horrible, so I will declutter it. It's just pretty new in my collection, but it's awful, so I don't want it in my collection. Then I have this blue one from Bourjois and it is beautiful, but how often will I use a blue like this? The answer is not too often, so I will declutter it. And at the same time I do have this Sephora one that is just a bit better and I know that I would use this one instead. Then I have two small ones that I think I will just declutter because they are so tiny, and this one is pretty old. It is the LH Cosmetics in the shade Fresh. This is so great, but right now I'm not using colorful shadows, so I don't think I'm gonna use this one too often. And then I have this very tiny pencil from Too Faced. This is a lovely product. I really love it, but as well I do have a brown in the Sephora formula that is nice as well, and I have the e.l.f. shadow stick if I want something more coppery. So this is, like I said, getting pretty old. So these are the eyeliners that I will declutter and I'm gonna keep the rest. I have these single shadows, the Dazzle sticks from KVD, and these are from Udanzai. I'm gonna keep all of them just because they are really good formulas and I do use them from time to time. Let's move to eyeshadow palettes because I just don't wear a lot of eyeshadows right now. I know that I still love them, so I will keep probably most of these palettes, but at the same time I would like just to move some of these to a chopping block and see if I do miss them or if I just don't need them. And some of these are getting pretty old, and as well I kind of want to just mix 2 or 3 palettes from Natasha Denona and create only one, just to have my favorite shades from Natasha Denona, because I don't think I'm gonna film a ranking or something like that too soon, because I'm not even purchasing eyeshadow palettes from Natasha Denona right now because I already have those shades and I just don't need them because I'm not using, like I said, I'm not using eyeshadows that often. First of all, we have the Wood palette from Eye, and this is lovely. I don't want to get rid of this one. It's just a dream. I really like it, so this one is not going anywhere. And the Verdandi one as well. I'm not wearing colorful shadows, but these are so beautiful, and this precious shade is precious. Really, these are just lovely. Then I have this one. I'm not gonna pronounce this name. It's the mini palette from Martin Cosmetics. It is beautiful, but I'm not gonna reach for it actually, and it's so stupid because I got it this year. I was curious about the formula and everything, but it's stupid. I'm gonna keep it because I want to film a full face of makeup that I tried in 2024, and I'm gonna keep it for that, but it's stupid. I'm not excited about this palette. Then I have the ABH Nouveau. This one is going for sure nowhere because I love it. Similar to that, the Cosmos one from ABH. I just love these palettes. They are just some of my absolute favorite ones, so for sure I'm keeping these ones. Then I have my favorite mini palette. This is the Mini Retro from Natasha Denona. This one, man, it is so hard to declutter eyeshadows, but this one, for example, I'm not using it. I will declutter this one. It is a mini pastel from Natasha Denona. It is so good quality and so nice, but I'm not using it. It's too colorful, and this shade I have it in like 3 or 4 palettes from Natasha Denona, so I really don't need this one. Then I have this one, and I love this middle shade, and actually these are removable. You can pop them out, so this one I will put in the chopping block area just to think about it. But yeah, this one as well, it is cute, and I would like to have maybe one palette from Pat McGrath, so let's keep it because it is beautiful and good formula. This one is going for sure nowhere. I love it. It's the VZR Squad. It's so stunning. I'm keeping it for sure. Other palettes in here, we have the Color Icon from Wet n Wild. I'm gonna keep this one. It is a neutral dream and it is affordable, so I want to have it. The Makeup by Mario I just purchased is going nowhere. I really like it, and it's a great formula, a great color story, even though it is so neutral, but I do enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep it. This one, I love this shade. Can I keep only this shade? This one is nice, but I don't need it. I'm not reaching for my palette, so why keep something like this? It's a clunky packaging and it's not my favorite formula. Then I have the Beauty Bay palette, and this one is so colorful and bright, and I'm not reaching for it for sure, but it is so beautiful and it is pretty new, so I want to keep it a bit more. Next I have the Lost in Los Angeles, and I love this palette, but I'm not reaching for these shimmers at all. Maybe the peachy shades and the white mostly. What I'm gonna do, maybe after this video, I'm gonna just try maybe to depot some of these. Maybe I could keep only this shade and maybe the lighter shade from the NYX palette, because those are useful, but this one is going into the decluttering pile just because I'm not reaching for it. It is a bit old and it's pretty bright. And as well I have the Hela from Wooden's Eye and Angelica. I'm gonna keep this one because it's so beautiful. I can declutter it, and it has so many green shades, and I love green. It's one of my favorite colors, so this one will stay. Then I have the Gal on the Moon from Gloss Gods, and this is so bright, so I'm debating, but again, can I depot some of these maybe and keep some? I don't even know. I think this one I'm gonna keep it as it is because I'm a bit scared to destroy these eyeshadows. They are so beautiful. Then we have the Little Cosmetics shadows, and I think I'm gonna declutter all of these. They are getting older and I am not reaching for them, and even though they are beautiful, it's time for them to go. I'm gonna keep the palette though. Maybe I'm gonna move them in another palette or something, but they need to go. Next we have some Natasha Denona, and it's hard for me to do this, but I think it is time. I want to mix the Natasha Denona pastel with the Metropolis. I want to pick from these two only 15 shades. And they are totally different palettes, but I think I could create something fun. So we are gonna do this after I'm selecting the palettes in this video, so stay tuned. I think that could be a lot of fun as well. The Yaka palette for sure I'm keeping as it is. I'm not touching this one. It's so beautiful. I love it, and it's just, I love it. I'm gonna keep it as it is because it is perfect like this. The Nivea palette as well, one of my favorites, is going nowhere. It's just so beautiful. And here I have some lighter shades, but I'm missing a white in my collection, and yeah, maybe I need to buy a single white shadow from some brand. Next we have the Club Nebula, and it's practically impossible for me to declutter it, but I think it is time. I don't know how many months of shelf life this one has. I have these shades in other palettes, and I'm not gonna reach for this shade in the near future. I already know, so this one needs to go. Lastly, we have the My Dream palette from Natasha Denona, and I'm kind of considering mixing this with the pastel palette and the Metropolis as well. Maybe we can pick from these two palettes and create 2 color stories. So we have these 3 palettes that I want to mix, and I think I will include the My Dream palette just because I like the black, but these 2 cream to powder are just too similar in my opinion, and at the same time this brown is a bit hard to blend, and I think I could create a better combo than this. So what I'm gonna do actually is remove all of these and rearrange everything. I want to just go ham and go crazy, so let's do that. And as well, I want to mention that I do have numbers on them, so if at any point I want to go back, I can. So let's just remove all of this. Okay, everything is getting kind of messy here, but I need to clean the palettes as well. So these are Natasha Denona My Dream pastel, and this is Metropolis. So I'm gonna keep the My Dream like this for now. I want to see the rest first, because the My Dream color story, it is, let me get this straight. Natasha Denona is a genius. Her color stories are genius, so I don't want to ruin the essence of the My Dream palette just because I love it. It's great. I'm gonna remove from these 2 palettes all the shades that are just, I know for a fact that I don't care for. So the peach in here from the pastel palette, I don't like it. I'm gonna put all of these in the Metropolis because we are gonna get rid of that. This shimmer, again, don't love it. The purple cream to powder, this one is a bad cream to powder actually, so that is very easy to remove. The red shimmer, I don't love it. The multichrome, I don't even like it, so that is very easy for me to remove as well. Then I think I'm gonna remove the blue because we have the cream to powder, and I think maybe I could create something from the Metropolis because that has some blues as well. What else from here? I do like the pinks, I do like the yellow. I think this is it for now. From this one, I need to see, this bronze could go. Then this brown could go because it is pretty basic. I want to see a cooler toned shimmer as well that I would like. This bronze could go. The red one is pretty unique in this palette. I actually like it more than the pastel palette one that is pinky a bit. This gold could go. What else? What is my favorite one? I think it's this one. This is my favorite shade. This is staying for sure, even though I have it in other palettes. That one could stay. Then we have another gold that I don't care for. I really like this gold and this one. Those are enough. I have the orange matte. This one I like. Then we have 2 orangey cream to powders. They look so damn similar. I'm gonna keep the darker one. We have 2 dark blues as well. I'm gonna keep the more aquamarine one just because it will go better with the other ones from the pastel palette. I'm gonna remove this one as well, just because I have blue in other palettes and I don't love blue eyeshadow anyway. I want to keep the greens. I can remove maybe this one or this one. I'm gonna keep the more taupey one. Then from these two, I'm gonna keep the lighter one just to have some dimension. That's it for now. Let's look at the My Dream palette to see what I want to remove from here, because I don't think I'm gonna remove that many. I think I want to remove the lighter purple, this one, the more berry one. They are too similar and I prefer the darker one. Then I think I would like to swap out the brown from here to a cream to powder brown. So I'm gonna do that and swap out the lighter cream to powder from the Metropolis. What about this shade? Is this one interesting? Not at all. I'm gonna remove this one as well. Will this shade look interesting in here? Maybe yes. I'm getting a bit confused, so I will put all the My Dream shadows into the palette. I added, I think, 2 more shades, but I think I'm missing 1 shade. So let me arrange them to the correct spot for now, and then I could arrange them a bit more. It is 10:30 p.m. and I'm trying to figure out eyeshadows. What is this life? I'm quite happy actually. So I'm gonna try to arrange this in the pastel palette, because again I'm getting a bit confused. So let me do that and I'll be right back just to have some impressions. I have a hard time, please help me. So I have these shadows that look great together. I don't know if you are able to see them. And this is the pastel palette so far, and this is the... I swapped out a bit more from the My Dream palette. I do like what I did with the My Dream palette, because I put Familia back. It is what it is, but I put an orange. I think that could be fun, and I put this one. It is a cream to powder from Natasha Denona. Maybe I need to... Give me 1 second. So I think this looks better. I quite like it right now. I put a darker cream to powder in here. I think this way it works better. I always thought these 2 shades were too dark. I mean, you have a black, you can intensify everything, anything. So I don't know what I'm missing right now. Maybe a white. I think a white would be lovely. I think actually this one may work. It is the Bellini shade from the pastel palette. So let me put it right here. And we have something like this. It is pretty light, so maybe I could use it as an inner corner highlight. But I really like how the palette is looking right now. It is just, I like it better. So let me do something with the pastel palette. So I decided on this. I almost removed my favorite shadow, but then I realized that if I'm decluttering this one, the mini pastel, I don't have this one, which is very similar, practically the same, but I have a similar one in the Yaka palette. But still, I would like to. It's my favorite shadow. I really like them. So this is the palette right now. I think it looks crazy, but I love it. So these are the 2 palettes. They look great. So I would like to use them. I think I'm gonna do a video with this one, because it is looking pretty fun, if you are asking me. And these are all the shadows that I'm gonna put in the decluttering pile. They are nice. This one is absolutely stunning, but I have some shades similar to this in other palettes, or they are shades that I'm not using. So overall, these are all the palettes that I'm gonna put in the decluttering pile. I'm not gonna think about them too much and just put them in a bag, and then I'm gonna see if I miss them or not. And as well, the eyeliners, I'm gonna see if I miss any of them in the next 1 month or 2, and if I do, sure, maybe I'm gonna bring them back, but I hope probably not, because like I said, I'm not using eyeshadows that much. So I hope you liked this video, and it was very fun. It was very fun for me. So if you liked it and want to see more from me, please subscribe and give it a like, and I'll see you next time.